You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AFTERBUZZ TV's Mob City After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Mob City After Show.
Hello and welcome to the Mob City AFTERBUZZ After Show. I am your host, Ryan Hooks. We are here breaking down episode number 3, Red Light, and episode number 4, His Banana Majesty. It's hilarious and funny. Always laughing to my left here, we have the lovely Anik Dufour.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us today. We will be breaking down, like I said, Mob City. So I'd like to jump right into everything here today with his lovely self, Mr. Bugsy Siegel.
Yes.
Yes. So in these episodes, we are getting more and more character development, finally. After the first two was a little bit slow.
Right.
A little background on some of the mob. Episode starts off with Sid Rothman, Bugsy Siegel, and a couple of quote-unquote hitmen who are in the car. These hitmen, if you will, were supposed to be doing a hit on somebody by the name of Abe Greenberg. Mm-hmm. However, they're talking about the feds. They're talking about people being in their way, talking about reasons why they basically can't do the hit.
Right.
We see a little bit of a side of Bugsy that we have yet to see in anything. Punches them both in the face, breaks their noses, and says, you know what, I'll do it myself. Thoughts?
I like it. He took charge.
You like a little Edward Burns fire?
I love Edward Burns.
Who doesn't love a little fire from Edward Burns? The boss that everyone wants to date but never gets the girl.
Huh? Did I miss the movie?
You missed the movie reference.
What movie?
It's okay.
Wait. 27 Dresses. No.
I don't remember the name of it. It's a movie that he was the boss, and Jennifer Lopez was in it. I think it's secretary or something. Anyway, regardless, Bugsy Siegel taking a little bit of action, pulls out his gun, and basically walks up to the car and starts shooting at Abe Greenberg, who we later find out is an informant for the police against the mafia.
Right.
This is where we learned then a little bit more in terms of Jasmine Fontaine and her involvement with Hickey Nash. We see them hiding in a car, taking pictures. This is where we see that she is actually the one that has taken the pictures of Bugsy that we see in episode 1 that was used to blackmail him for the $50K that they were trying to get and the reason they were trying to get away.
Right.
Cut ahead from there. We see our lovely friends, Mo and Jerry, in this Italian restaurant, who I'm assuming in the scene where they get their noses broken were the two that were in the backseat of the car.
Right.
Because now they're dead.
Right.
So what happens when you piss off the boss? You end up dead.
Yes.
With a bunch of other people. So what this does then, too, is it sets up a nice dynamic with Bugsy, because as we see down the next progression of the episodes, we see him out in the desert, where he's looking to build his future home of the Flamingo. And as we learned in the first episode, he is basically the founding father of Las Vegas. Mm-hmm. He loves gambling. He loves making money. But then again, we see him punching another guy in the face and throwing him into a ditch.
Yes.
Which he then gets shot up and buried deep in concrete.
Is it me, or did it take him a while for the guy to die?
He got shot quite a few times.
And then he was just still alive.
Nah, they buried him in concrete. He's dead now.
Well, I know that, but I'm just saying, like, you seem like squirming and stuff. Like, after the first shot, you would have thought that, first or second or third, you would have thought that.
Let's just fill him full of lead, so to speak. Do you think that if they ever tear down any hotels in Las Vegas and they pull out the concrete structure, that they might find bodies in there?
I would not be surprised, and I think that would be kind of awesome.
I think it'd be kind of awesome, too. I feel like there's a little bit of truth in that. Like, who comes up with hey, let's just throw his body in the concrete and bury him? I bet that probably happened.
Yeah.
So to speak. Anyway, so we see then as Bugsy Siegel's character progresses, he gets arrested when he returns from Vegas as he's flying in on his own private jet, which sets up, to me, probably the funniest part of episode 4. I think you're inclined to agree with me. When Bugsy's in prison, he's talking on the phone, getting his hair done, getting his nails
He's getting
done.
his nails done. He's like in a little spa. And then here comes, and I thought he was actually at a spa. And then here comes like the cops, and then like he's in a holding cell.
They're looking through the bars. They end up cut the wire on the phone that he's talking. He's talking to Ned Stack about how business should progress as usual. Just doing his thing, hanging out. And apparently, according to his lawyer, we find out he's granted certain amenities.
Right. And he's got lobster.
He's got lobster.
He's got lobster.
He gets privileges basically because of who he knows, which also sets up a cool, interesting little bit with the police captain, Parker, where he's wanting to go to trial, wants to take forward and take down, Bugsy Siegel and, be the hero, but he only has 26 hours to get the evidence against him, which normally, obviously, you don't go to trial that fast. Sometimes it can be up to a week. We see that Neil McDonough's character in Bill the Boy Scout Parker is kind of stumped a little bit, and I feel like he's basically puts the scramble into episode 4 on moving everything forward. And do you think that Bugsy's going to get cleared of all charges in episode 5?
I think so. I think he will.
I mean, if you're best friends with the police commissioner and you play golf with the judge.
Because, honestly, though, he hasn't really done any dirty work. He hasn't gotten his hands dirty.
He killed that guy. They've got photo evidence, sort of.
Yeah, sort of, though. Yeah, it's not like, he always has, he's got, the little minions.
They don't have it, but it's available to be found if the right people could find it. Because as we do see, and we find out that Teague has a key to the safe
Right.
At this train station that is potentially probably photographs that Jasmine has taken, because they do have prints that they make out. Obviously, this episode is titled Red Light, indicating the red light that they use to
Develop
when they
pictures.
develop the photography. Absolutely. Yes. Thank you. That's the word I was looking for. So and we learn a little bit more about that red light, too. When we're at the house, we see that Joe Teague comes to Jasmine's house, again, checking up, following up, because as we learned in episode 2, that he basically was married to her, basically still in love with her, would do anything for her. But he's there asking her more about the photography and wants, he's questioning her and basically trying to get more information, and to find out basically how he can help or what they can do to get out of this situation.
Right.
And then we see that our good friend Mickey Cohen shows up.
Yes.
Wants also to ask the same questions about where they stand, what they can do, and how they can basically get through this without anyone getting in jail or killed or gas chambered. As they find out here in LA, they do the gas chamber in the 40s.
Right.
but-
You learn something new every day.
I mean, you read a couple of books and you're in.
Yeah.
Done. So did you think that when Joe was at the house that he was going to get caught?
I didn't think so. I didn't think he was going to. I think he's too intelligent to get caught. I just want to know, my whole thing with them is that I want to know, are they still divorced? I mean, are they divorced? Are they still married? You could see, I love the relationship though between them, the chemistry between them. And I also love, kind of he goes in the closet with the gun, and you could still see his shadow.
His
and
shadow.
I don't understand how the other one couldn't see him.
I mean, he was busy looking at legs, as he
That's
likes to
true,
call
because
her.
he called her legs.
He called her legs a couple of times.
Yes.
He actually was in the office after Hecky Nash got killed in the first episode and called her legs. The legs come into my office, want to talk to you. Bugsy Siegel also asked her out. So apparently a lot of people have an infatuation with our Jasmine Fontaine.
Yes.
I mean, it's not hard to see that. She was Andromeda after all, the goddess of beauty and so forth and so on. I know a lot of things about movies. Stay off of me. That's all. Okay. Well, then in that scene, or I guess jumping back here a little bit, we find that they bring in a whole bunch of people because they're going to start questioning people about what has happened with the shooting at the Italian restaurant where Mo and Jerry got killed.
Right.
And they're bringing in the witness, my favorite lady from the
cheese.
The cheese lady.
The cheese lady.
Yes, they're bringing her in, as well as they're bringing in Carl, who got beat up by the mob, says he didn't see anything, but we know really that he is on the side of the mob because he used to work for them before he was put in jail. Brought in, and they're interviewing all these people. And basically, this is Bill the Boy Scout's gung-ho mission to stop crime. He was told not to pursue with this. He pursues anyway. Sid Rothman comes in, recognizes Joe Teague, and starts making some kind of accusations, if you will, at him, but very in a sly, cool manner so that they know what's going on. There's a tension between them. However, there's not any indication to everyone else that there's anything going on. Did you think that Sid was going to say anything about what happened?
I don't think so.
About knowing that, I mean, obviously the cops all know that Joe was there because they set up the mission and whatnot, but obviously he knows that he didn't kill Hecky and Hecky ended up dead. So really it only leaves one possible option for who killed him.
I think it's going to lead into more blackmail to be waited on till our
final
predictions. But I think that's going to be kind of like where maybe the whole corruption type of thing comes in.
I could see that. I mean, blackmail you back, so to speak.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Teague gave them the money back and he really did them a favor, didn't want anything from them. So do they have grounds to blackmail him back?
I don't know. I mean, it's, it's the mob. They'll always find a reason.
Always find a reason to kill somebody. Definitely don't want any debts. Definitely don't want to owe any favors.
Right.
As they currently really do owe Detective Teague a favor for him taking care of their problem with Hecky Nash. Okay, well then, fine. Good, great, and wonderful. So it goes back to Carl then. We find out that he's lying about everything, and he says he doesn't know anything. He's released. However, we also find out that one of the detectives from the mob squad is doing a little background research. They find out about his past, about his ties to the mob, and they assume and or immediately put together the fact that he is lying. So they go out and they want to catch him. However, when Joe is in the closet, when Mickey shows up, he finds out that there's a plan to kill Carl. They're going to meet him at Griffith Park to meet, which is really then their plan to take care of him, so to speak.
Because he was out in the balcony. Listening in into Sid.
Listening in when Sid showed up. But Sid came in basically to tell Mickey that he should go be somewhere public so that he's not implicated in this, obviously knowing that Bugsy's in prison right now for murder.
Right.
To take care of the loose ends, if they, so to speak. We see that then, that since then, things have kind of cooled down because they've got Bugsy in custody and, they know about Carl, so they're looking for Carl. But what we do find out then is that the surveillance on Jasmine has gone away. Mm-hmm. Jasmine's no longer being followed by the cops. But then we are introduced to another character.
This little weasel guy. This
little Weasley character, so to speak. Leslie Shermer.
Yeah.
Leslie Shermer was supposedly, quote unquote, partners with Hecky Nash. Mm-hmm. And with his partnership to Hecky Nash, he was guaranteed half of the quote unquote $10,000 that Hecky was going to take for the stuff. Because he was basically the one that gave him the tip about the hit on Abe Greenburn and told him basically to be there. So that's why he went, and that's why he took the pictures, and that's why he knew what kind of film to get and use with the help of Jasmine. So he's basically stalking her.
Right.
In a weird, creepy sort of way. Following her around, leaves her a note covered in blood.
Yeah. I mean, if the guy were to be like, kind of hot, I'd been like, okay, you can stalk me. But I mean, he's kind of Weasley looking.
He is very Weasley looking, and I think a blood note really just too much Simpsons for me.
Too much Simpsons?
Get a pen. There's an episode of The Simpsons where he's writing death letters to Bart and he's using his own blood and then he passes out. I guess I'm on my own here.
Wrong.
I know, it's fine. So we see this interaction with them and the stalking of Jasmine begins. But then we flash back to more with Carl. Carl's at Griffith Park and we see three guys show up and they start shooting at him. And as any drama will tell you, if you are a bad guy, you cannot shoot, you cannot aim, and you cannot kill anybody.
Right.
Because they miss like 15 times, allowing him to escape onto the carousel at Griffith Park. And he is hiding. But we see Joe Teague show up just in the nick of time, hearing gunshot, hearing
Right.
yelling, turns the carousel on, turns the lights on, and starts returning fire. Lets Carl know that it is Detective Teague, is here to help him.
Right. Now, what I kind of like got me was that they were shooting at him. Oh, did they mean to miss him?
I think they tried to kill him and they just missed.
Because I mean, they shot like
A lot.
a lot of rounds.
That's the standard Death Trooper, Stormtrooper rather, shooting tactic. They just miss.
And they're pretty. Maybe they should have gone to like some type of like shooting.
You'd
I mean, you would think for being the mob, they would have had a better shot. But
No. Not when it's low rent hitmen. They're just nobodies on the street who have 6 shooters and they cannot shoot. So the battle ensues, and at the end of episode 3, our great reveal moment is Carl decides to basically help the police. He agrees to testify against Bugsy, and that's why we see him in custody at the beginning of episode 4, and that's why we learn about
Right.
this great, him in jail situation and also his trial. Bugsy says, if they're going to do me like this, I'm going to retaliate. But that also sets up a point where he basically outs Sid. Says, hey, you know what? Sid was the one that killed the 2 guys in the cafe. I saw him do it. I tipped him off. And without me, he wouldn't have done it. But at the same time, I know he did it. I witnessed him do it. And you can basically arrest him and we can take down the mob.
right.
So we see Kevin Parker here, and that's his mission, is to take down the mob. He wants to be that guy.
Right.
So he wants to take care of everything. Which then leads us into episode 4. So one thing I do want to ask about episode 4, the first 3 episodes of this TV show were directed by Frank Darabont. Mm-hmm. Episode 4 and episode 5 are a different director. It's Guy Ferland, who's done several TV shows. Did you feel like that there was a difference in the cinematography between episode 3 and episode 4?
A little bit.
Because to me, I thought there was a lot more use of light. Scenes
Yes.
shot in the daytime.
Yes.
Things that happened in the daytime. People, out and about and living life like normal people, not in darkness, not in nighttime or, sneaking around, that kind of neo-noir style as
Right.
this first 3 episodes have been filmed. Which I thought created an interesting dynamic with the show where, like I said, lighter is the best word for it, but it gives us a contrast to go in because this episode, we start to get a little bit more information about people and also things that are going to start happening in the town now that Bugsy is in jail.
Right. For how long is another story.
TBA on the arrest. He's only on trial for 1 day.
Right.
So I guess we'll see with that hopefully in episode 5 and 6
Right.
what happens with that trial and that situation.
I mean, it's not like he's having it very hard.
Oh, absolutely not. He's allowed certain privileges.
Yeah.
Sure, why not? Go for it. Done and done. Cool. So with that being said, certain privileges as well that we have in our modern technology, iTunes. You love AfterBuzz TV. You love Mob City. You want to go on and download iTunes. And you want to go on and you want to download Mob City Podcast. We are available with over 60 plus shows every week. We do shows every single day here. How you can help us out is to go on iTunes, download our podcast, subscribe to us, and give us a 5-star rating. Tell us what you think. Leave us your comments, your quotes, anything about the show that you want us to talk about. Ask us. We've got question sections we can answer for you. And we want to be here for you because you're here for us. So thank you for tuning in. Go to iTunes, check us out, tell your friends, tweet about us, hit us up. We'll help you out too. All right, moving back into the show here. You're welcome. I love a little segment transition. I want to talk a little bit more about the relationship that is developing even more so in this episode between Detective Teague and Jasmine Fontaine. Mm-hmm. Do you feel that there is any love lost between them based on the fact that they're broken up?
I think I don't know. I think maybe on her part, maybe not on his per se. I mean, I still think that he's like in love with her.
I agree.
I think that maybe she doesn't know she is.
Well, she has that comment that she makes about there might have been, but I'm trying to push it away. She doesn't want feelings to start up again. She doesn't want to get back involved with him.
Right.
And I feel like there's that distance, but at the same time, I feel like as much as she fights it, she's going to lose.
Yeah.
Because she still loves him, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, and we see that then too, where she's talking about their past with when Jasmine is in the office talking to Ned. She goes to Ned and asks for help because obviously we've got Leslie Shermer stalking her, and she basically wants the money to pay him off and wants the situation to go away. Doesn't want to go to Joe about it because she doesn't want him to stick his neck out any more than he already has.
Right.
At the same time, I feel like she feels bad for going around him and going to her when he's obviously going so far out of his way to help her.
Right. I mean, I don't know. Like, it's the same thing. She kind of like, I want to say she should kind of like know maybe that he wants to help her because they were married.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I would think that not knowing what happened between them and like why they're like separated or divorced or whatever you want to say, I think that for her to, I see where it's going, kind of like type of thing, and I'm trying to like say something that I can't, it's not coming out. I think that she knows that she kind of loves him, but at the same time she doesn't want to put him out more, maybe to not show him that she still cares and she still loves him.
She's definitely very well handled in every scene that you always see her compose herself right before she starts interacting with somebody. You even saw that when Mickey showed up at the door, took a deep breath, gave him a glare, and was back to being kind of cold-hearted, if you will, kind of tough, tough-shouldered.
Right.
She works obviously at a mob restaurant, and I feel like that's maybe her. I feel like that's her pushing away feelings that are there that she doesn't want to show.
Right.
And because she even brings up then more about Joe and like what happened to him and why he is the way he is and why Ned Stack has the ability to not be that way. Why can he basically put up a front, and what he admits to is, I put up a front and I'm better at hiding it than other people are, whereas someone like Joe can't, where everything that he saw and did in the war negatively affected him in a terrible, terrible way.
Yeah.
So I think that if she lets her guard down a little bit, I feel like there's going to be a romance that happens.
Yeah.
So I hope so.
I
Who
know,
doesn't
so do
want
I.
a little bit of love in their life? Aww. Okay, cool. So enough of that. Let's go back to guys shooting each other. So in this episode then as well, we see that because Bugsy Siegel is in prison, everything is up for grabs. We meet Mr. Dragna, who owns a banana plant and also does a lot of gambling. In an opening scene with them coming back in, we see that Dragner's men come into a quote-unquote protected place and pretty much bust it up. Mm-hmm. They say, you know what, you're not protected anymore. You don't do business anymore. If you want to gamble, come up to our place and place your bets because this is our place now.
Right.
And basically setting up some tension, if
Yeah.
you will. A little bit of mafia love.
Yeah.
This side versus that side. And so I like how this is started off because I like that the character that is in the at the place, his name is Smooth Watson, gets beat up pretty badly, gets stomped on by the guys, which you feel bad for him because he's really just standing up for his place, really just doing what he's been told to do.
Right.
I don't know if they meant to kill him or didn't. Bottom line, he ends up dying at the end of the episode. But that does set up a good little bit of mafia retaliation. Mm-hmm. So we'll get to that because that's
Yes.
something that I want to talk about in depth. Pun intended. You're welcome, listeners, for that one. Think about it. Okay, cool. We're good. But basically, we see this happening throughout the show, where these Dragner's men show up, bust up casinos, busting things up, and basically saying, this is our house now. You can gamble with us or you can get lost. So that then sets up a nice little bit with Ned. Because as we kind of learn throughout the episode and as he's been developed as a character, just because he works for bad guys doesn't mean he's a bad guy.
Right.
He's very smart. As he said, he aced the bar exam. He does a lot of things to help people out. Very active. I think he doesn't like looking at him.
Right.
He's a good-looking guy.
Yeah.
You do.
I do.
That's what you like.
Love you, Lou.
Who
Bye,
doesn't
Lou.
love him? But in this scene, then he's at a party. at a pretty nice upscale house in Beverly Hills. And he goes in, is talking to the owner, or basically the operator of the gambling house, saying,
Right.
you know what? Everything is to proceed as normal. Keep morals up, keep bringing in money. We want to show that just because Bugsy's in prison doesn't mean that he is out of the picture, doesn't mean that we're shutting down. As of right now, they actually even say that Mickey Cohen is in charge. Although he's rough around the edges, he's the boss, he's next in line. We want to keep things going. He's going to take care of everything.
Right.
So we then see that as the plot progresses, while they're busting up this house, he gets a phone call and says, hey, you know what? People are busting up our safe houses all over town. These guys from Dragna's place show up and start busting up their casino. Stack steps in. Say that again 3 times fast. Stack steps in and says, you know what? You're scaring these people. You're not doing yourself any favors. You're only making things worse. Again, showing his nice guy side, if you will. Says, you know what? Let these people go. Give them your card. I'll tell my men not to fight. You can point a gun at me and do what you're going to do because you're going to do it anyway. So why not? So he basically kind of saves the day a little bit. We see a little good cop in him.
Yeah.
Do you think that this show of good, the show of light, based on this episode being a lot later, is going to lead to something in the next couple of episodes?
As in...
Is his ties to Joe as a former Marine
Right.
greater than his ties to the Mafia, which pays him?
I don't know. I want him to be good. I so want him to be good because I love him. Like, I love him as an actor, and I love his character. So, I mean, I think it might.
I mean, he's got his flashy ties, so we know obviously what side he's on because flashy ties and flashy shoes mean you're a bad guy. But, you know...
But is he really bad, though?
Or is he just doing it for the money?
Exactly.
Because I'm sure he's paid very well as the prime attorney, as a fixer.
Yeah.
You know, up to the high echelon of the mob. And he's pretty good at it, too, from what we see.
Yeah.
And he shows up in the earlier episode as the lawyer to these people, and they keep him around. He took care of the situation with Hecky because he's the one that dropped the note in Joe's mailbox about meeting Hecky, and Hecky then hired him. And he wasn't sure how it would go out, but he hoped it would go out the way
Right.
that he wanted it to, which ended up going out obviously exactly how he wanted it to. He even made that comment about maybe I'm just smarter than you think, and you know, I'm prepared for that. But I think that it could definitely lead to some good things for him as a character in the next 2 episodes, where he could potentially not be a bad guy.
Yeah.
So
That could be predictions.
I think we'll save that for
Yeah,
predictions.
we
Absolutely.
shall.
Cool.
Now,
So
who is this girl, though?
the girl is just
I'm kind of jealous.
the manager of the casino.
I know, but I'm kind of jealous.
Unnamed, basically.
Did they name her?
No, they never named her. He never said
Or
her
did we
name.
miss that?
Viewers, if we
Viewers.
missed the name of the blonde in the casino house in Beverly Hills, tweet us, comment on us, let us know. We'll give you a shout out, let you know what's going on. But as of right now, she will remain the good-looking blonde who gives Ned Stack the eyes. And also gets
Yeah.
a kiss.
The eyes.
Blows on some dice. Lucky gambler.
Yes.
Sure, why not? Done. Cool. So as the episode progresses, then we get more of Carl, our lovable former ex-con who works in an Italian restaurant and hates it. He's agreed to go against trial, basically to testify that Sid killed Jerry and Mo. Mo and Jerry.
Right.
Mo and Jerry, there it is. And basically this is going to allow them to pin something on Sid. They're hoping that Sid will then be able to pin something on Bugsy, and that basically the snowball will progress and roll downhill. That they will be able to take him down. That's what they want. They want to take out the mob. They want to cut the head off the mob.
Right.
So we see him being moved to a safe house.
Which I found to be funny because it's supposed to be a safe house, and here comes like 3 black, really nice cars that obviously kind of like belong to the cops. And there's like a bunch of them together, and then they go and like, it's like kind of like, do you not like see something?
Do you not see these random 3 cars for like
Yeah.
cops driving on the road? I didn't see anything. Oh, what are the odds? No way. So they move him to the safe house, and then there's an amazing montage in this episode then where Sid Rothman, as we learned in episode 1, and as our previous guest Ryan Dorsey told us, Sid is a violinist.
Yes.
Started at an early age in the 20s when they used to go around pretending to be violinists, but obviously has still kept it up.
Right.
And is in this basement of this safe house that he's in, hiding out from the cops, playing his violin. Music is being dubbed over as we see Sid Rothman cutting off the barrel of a couple of shotguns while the police are out looking for him. Also, while we see Carl being moved to the safe house, while we see Joe wrapping up loose ends to make sure that he's protected and can still go to trial.
Right.
And also the overuse of the word nice.
Yeah.
Everyone just says how nice everything is.
That's the word of the night is nice.
Violin music makes things nice.
Very nice.
Absolutely. But anyway, it's fine. It's nice. We love it. But then one of the things, too, that this episode does is we see a bug being planted in Mickey's office.
Right.
The cops are hoping to get information now that they can use because they're running out of time. Again, they have 26 hours from when they started this episode to figure out what they can do to get some dirt on Bugsy, what they can do basically to put him away, at least for a little bit of time, if not for life, not for death.
Right.
So they have this plan to put a bug in the office. However, when they're in the office, again, we see Milo Stack and... I'm sorry, Milo. Hold that thought. We see Milo, a.k.a. Ned Stack, in the office talking to Jasmine Fontaine.
Milo Stack.
That's a good name, actually.
I know it is.
Keep that one for later.
Yeah.
And did you feel like they got any bit of the conversation between Jasmine and Ned?
I think that maybe they got like the first little bit of conversation, but then remember he said something about how they're just getting like a feed for like a game or something, and so I think that they didn't get the full.
So you don't think that there's any...
They may have just gotten like, hey, how are you type of thing, instead of like what went down.
No inkling of what went down, so we don't see that comes back later negatively on Ned, on Jasmine, or even Detective Teague.
Right.
Who is at this point basically playing both sides, basically the only corrupt cop that we've seen.
Corrupt.
Yes, because they talk about police corruption so much in this, and it's a noir piece, which is always about police corruption. But yet, he's the only corrupt one that we've been given.
But he's not, I don't find him to be corrupt.
A little bit shady, maybe?
Yeah, but I don't think he's corrupt.
I mean, I don't think he's bad, but he's not good either. So, anyway, again, we learn more about Joe and the war, and you know how he helped Ned, and also how he basically is locked up in his emotions. But then we see that the 5K gets given so that Leslie Shermer will go away, and we find out that Smooth Watson has been killed, and that the mafia wants to set up a meetup.
Right.
This meetup is going to entail Dragner's men and Bugsy Siegel's men getting together and talking about the situation where Dragner's smashing up casinos and offing people, and especially because the kid was black. So they're going to come have a meetup at the house where they had the funeral. And it's a good way to establish a good ground, a good relationship. So we are left then with your favorite and my scene of this episode.
Yes.
When we are in the banana factory.
Yes.
Mickey Cohen was recently told to basically take matters into his own hands. You are the boss. You should act like the boss. Let people know that we are taking care of things, and to show a force of strength, as Mickey Cohen in his mind will do.
Right.
Goes out and starts beating people up.
Right.
Shoving bananas in people's mouths.
Right.
Beating people up. Shoving bananas in people's
bottoms.
Mouths. Yes, because we see one of Dragner's men then is saying, you know what are you doing? Cut this out. You can't handle this. This is our territory now. You need to get out of here. And he says, you know what? And actually, I saw the poster at the beginning because I was trying to figure out the episode title.
Why it was called
his Banana Majesty. I saw the poster. You know, it says bananas a different way. Mickey Cohen gives him a banana a different way.
Right.
So then the Banana Majesty obviously makes sense. Smooth Watson's dead. And
I'm going to tell you one thing. I'll never look at bananas the same way again.
You don't like bananas anyway.
I know, but now I really don't like bananas. Because I could tolerate them before. Now I just...
Well, don't eat the hard green ones.
But still, I just see a banana now. It's going to be that.
Wonderful. Yes. Thank you, Jeremy Luke. shoving a banana where the sun don't shine, giving us multiple images to go to bed with tonight.
Yes.
Speaking of Jeremy Luke, next week on our show, he will be one of our special guests. We actually have 2.
Yes.
So we'll look forward to interviewing him and finding out what his thoughts were so far as his role as Mickey Cohen.
And the banana scene.
And the banana scene, especially the banana scene. And also potentially more on Mob City as a continuing series. Only 6 episodes to date that are for sure, because that's all they're showing. But is it going to get picked up? Do we get 12
Right.
more and get a full 20 episodes season 1? I hope so. I think you hope so.
Mm-hmm.
Who doesn't hope so? Because who doesn't like Frank Bob? Who doesn't like Mob? And who doesn't like bananas? Other than you.
This is me.
All right,
I
cool.
want to see. We should see more banana scenes.
You think that what
I think it should be like kind of like his like trademark
his,
banana.
his little joke now? 'Cause
His like, it's like
everyone
every time.
wants like a tagline or a running joke, so his can be the banana.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just kind of like want to see like like every time he like goes like before to kill somebody, he like sticks
Eats a banana.
or like sticks it up.
I mean, I was gonna go
Okay, I
on the
was gonna-
PC side. Fine, he can stick a banana wherever he wants to stick a banana, even if it's in his mouth.
Okay.
Cool. Then as the show comes to a close, you think that's the end. You think Mickey Cohen is going out making a stand for the mob, but it's not. We see Joe T come into his apartment,
Right.
and we see Sid waiting with the sawed-off shotgun,
Right.
ready to do a little damage. He doesn't shoot him, just holds him hostage, knocks him out basically, and makes him a prisoner. He's captive, and that will lead us into a lovely section we like to call predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
So to recap, Bugsy is in prison. Mickey Cohen's running the show, busting heads, and Sid is out and about making sure his things are taken care of. What do you see happening after what we saw with the trailer in the next 2 episodes as we close Mob City, episode 5 and 6?
Right. I see. Let me see. I don't know. Like I see, Jasmine, of course, being more involved with the whole situation with the weasel guy. I can't remember his name. I'm sorry.
Leslie Sherman.
Leslie Sherman.
Shermer.
I also see. I don't know. I think that Siegel's gonna get off because I mean they have no reason to hold him right now unless somebody gets, finds the pictures. But then Jasmine also told Sherman that I can bring you over to where the pictures are, and they're worth the amount of money
Large
that he
amounts
wants.
of money, right?
I also think that there's going to be kind of like a little going back to the conspiracy cop, like I think that the whole Sid and Joe thing is maybe going to be a little bit of blackmail there.
You're back to your blackmail.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I want to see more bananas.
And more bananas. So, number 1, Frank, bananas are the number 1 thing we need in episode 5 and 6. I know you've already filmed it, but go back and add an extra 10 pages of bananas because that will make our life better. Some of the things I was thinking about when I was watching the trailer for the next episodes is who's going to get killed, how relevant are the pictures going to be, both of the hit and also pictures from the past, because they do show some pictures of Teague and Jasmine together.
Right.
And also revenge. Are the cops gonna be corrupt finally, and you're gonna see them take matters into their own hands? I'm hoping that they do, and I'm hoping that heads will roll, so to speak, because the cops are the ones that are gonna do it. Literally busting heads, taking care of action. Cool. Well, thank you for tuning in today here at Mob City AfterBuzz. And tell us where we can find you.
You can find me on Twitter and I was going to say Twitter and AfterBuzz. Yes. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Anik Dufour and my website, anikdufour.com.
Cool. And you can find me at RyanHooks92 on Twitter, Instagram, Yahoo, Snapchat. One of my favorite. I know. I like getting Snapchats. Send me a picture, send a comment. It can be clean, and it can be about the show.
Make a G rated.
That's fine.
Snapchat.
It's all it is. Again, thanks for tuning in to AfterBuzz Mob City. We will see you next week. We have special guests Jeremy Luke and Natasha Estrada.
Yes.
Done and
From
done.
executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals. Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.